With modern and retro gaming consoles, I'm always looking for the best possible image quality, and investing in high quality cables is essential to achieve that. Recently, a company known as Pound has burst onto the scene with what they call HD link cables. There are currently 2 of them released, one for the original Xbox and the other for the Sega Dreamcast, with 2 more cables out soon for the Super NES and TurboGrafx-16. Now, as you know, I'm a big fan of both the Xbox and Dreamcast, and I thought it would be a cool idea to take a look at these cables and see how they compare. What's unique about these cables is that they essentially allow you to connect your Xbox and Dreamcast to modern displays and TVs via HDMI, with the Xbox HD link cable going all the way up to 1080i HD resolutions, if the game supports it of course, and the Dreamcast cable providing a max resolution of 640 by 480. So, both the HD link cables for the Xbox and the Dreamcast are being sold at $29.99 on Amazon. Now, full disclaimer, I was not sent these cables for review. I ended up actually buying both of these cables myself out of my own pocket. So my opinions and my experiences in this review are truly my own. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at both these cables and put them through its paces and see how well they perform. First up, let's take a look at the Dreamcast HD link cable. Inside the box, you'll get the cable itself and a thank you card, asking you to leave a review on Amazon. The cable connection is straightforward. Plug one end into the Dreamcast AV port and the other into the HDMI input of your television. Power up your Dreamcast, and as you can see, it's connected to our television at 640 by 480 on HDMI. The picture looks good and the audio is passing through the HDMI signal as we expect. So yep, it works and everything looks good. But of course, this is not the end of the story here. We are going to put the Pound HD link cable up against an official Dreamcast S video cable, as well as a generic Dreamcast VGA adapter that I bought on Lexang.com in about 2004. First, let's look at the boot up menu screen. First up we have the S video, and next is the HD link cable, and finally we have VGA. The HD link cable doesn't look too bad, but putting it next to the VGA cable, you can tell the colors are a little washed out and the image is blurrier than it should be. Let's move on to some games. Cannon Spike by Capcom is another game that I test. First is the S-Video, and then we have a side-by-side comparison with S-Video on the left, and the HD link is on the right-hand side. The HD link certainly isn't terrible and does a decent job here, but there appears to be a green tint that's washed over the image. Take note of the Kami text on the top left. Now we move on to the VGA connector. As you can see, the colors and clarity are where they should be. To be clear, the HD link cable certainly isn't bad, and there is appeal of having a connector where you can easily hook it up to a Dreamcast and a capture device. So yeah, overall for $29.99, there's really nothing wrong with the HD link cable for the Sega Dreamcast. The only problem is it's not as good as a standard dedicated VGA cable. However, this makes things like streaming much easier with real Dreamcast hardware, and the image will look pretty decent. But if you want the best possible image, then stick in a dedicated VGA adapter or use a SCART or S-Video cable if you are wanting to output to a CRT. Now, as I continue to use this, I came to the realization that this cable is nothing but a VGA output that's been converted to HDMI. In other words, games that don't support VGA, such as Hydro Thunder, won't work with this cable either. And that is a little misleading, and if you want to use this cable with your favorite Dreamcast games, make sure they support VGA, otherwise this cable will not work for you. So let's move on to the HD original Xbox cables. The packaging is the same except in green, but comes with an additional instruction sheet which informs you to load your dashboard and enable 1080i HD resolution in order to take advantage of high-res screen modes. First of all, a standard 480i game like Time Splitters 2 looks great, no issues here at all. Next, Amped 2 is an original Xbox exclusive title that takes advantage of 720p HD. An official Xbox cable, it looks very crisp, and then switching over to the HD link cable at 720p, it looks great. And this is the image quality of the HD link cables playing Amped 2 at 720p. As you can see, very crisp, and I can't tell any difference between this image quality and the original HD component cables. And for the next game I try is Dead or Alive Ultimate, which runs at 480p progressive scan but supports 16:9 widescreen and again looks excellent in comparison to the HD component cables. But there is a noticeable color difference here, once again a shade of green. Now I decide to look at another game at 720p, and the last game that I try is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. This one runs at 720p, and again, it almost looks one-to-one identical with the original component cables. I forgot how awesome Tony Hawk games were, and as I sat down for a play session, and as I was switching between original component and the HD link cables and capturing all my gameplay, I stumbled across an issue. At the corner of my eye, I thought that I noticed or saw some artifacting or some glitching of the graphics, and yep, when I freeze framed this video and froze it and blew it up to 200%, you can easily see there is artifacting or noise that's coming through the signal at 720p. Now, I will say that I didn't notice the artifacting or noise on any other game that I tried, so I'm not sure if this is a 720p HD issue or something specific to Tony Hawk because it has darker colors than something like, say, Amped 2. And once you see this issue, it becomes very distracting. Now this is unfortunate because the HD link cables for the original Xbox otherwise are pretty good. So, in conclusion, what are my thoughts on the HD link cables that you saw in this review? Well, let's start with the Dreamcast one first. Now, the Dreamcast cable isn't too bad. For $29.99, it gets the job done, but my biggest issue with the Dreamcast cable is two things. First of all, the image quality isn't as good as what I expected to be. As you saw with a dedicated VGA cable for a Sega Dreamcast, it absolutely kills it. And that's a bit of a problem for me. And the second thing is obviously the fact that it's just a VGA cable that has an HDMI output. So it's a little misleading to some people. So if you have your favorite games on the Sega Dreamcast that doesn't support the VGA output, then this cable will not provide that to you either. Now, for the Xbox cable, that's a little more interesting because initially out of the gate, the Xbox cable's image quality, the HD link cable, is one-to-one, almost perfect with that of the HD component cables, the official HD component cables. But what lets it down for me here is the very, very visible and obvious artifacting and noise that's coming through on the image quality, and that's a problem. That's a deal breaker for me. I can't recommend a cable that has that level of artifacting. So for me at this time, I can't recommend either of these two cables. I want Pound to go back to the drawing board somewhat. Look at the issues that I've identified in this video, go back and address them, and bring back a new revision of both of these cables that do address these issues. And for $29.99, I'd be the first one to put my hand up and say, yeah, you know, that's awesome. I'm gonna start utilizing these cables as the main cables in my workflow day to day. Well guys, that'll do it for this video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought once again. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.